And welcome back to Mike Ferry TV. It is the week of May 14th. Time is flying. We got to get to work. Last week we tried to sell you on the belief that you can do a lot of listings. Now you can say to yourself, I don't have any experience. I don't know how. And that's okay. And that's real. We want to help you today look at some of the skills required. And then we're going to look at a very, very important question I wrote down. Why are these skills so difficult to learn? So we're going to take a little bit more time today than we normally do. Normally we're 10 to 12 minutes. We might take 15 minutes or so, but I think it's going to be a good investment of your time. If you really look at the sales business, now let's forget real estate for a minute. Because as I said last week, I've been hearing for 43 years that I don't get the message that I'm supposed to be training you on. I'm out of touch. One particular person in the industry refers to me as the 900-pound gorilla in the back of the room. I don't weigh quite 900, but I guess I can make an impact. Folks, in selling, I don't care what the product is. I don't care what the service is. There are certain skills required to make a sale. Now, here's what I want you to think about. Look at everything that's in your office or in your home, every product, the draperies, the carpet, the furniture, the dishes. Everything has been thought of, designed, created, and then sold by somebody. And it doesn't matter what it is. If you're going to sell anything, anywhere, there's a certain process that's involved. And don't believe all the crazy people that tell you today that you don't have to follow the processes that make sales work. So there's 6 steps or 6 skills we have to learn. The first, of course, is the management of your time. Now, I want you to listen carefully. Buyers generally control an agent's time, and you know that. A buyer controls our time. We're going to be there Saturday at 10. They show up at 11. We can only be with you 2 hours. They're with us for 4. Yet a seller, and you know this for a fact, does not control your time. So therefore, in time management, if you're working with buyers all the time, you pretty much have lost control. Working with sellers, you have control. Second, I used to talk about prospecting at every seminar. And you know, everybody says, oh God, he talks about prospecting all the time. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I said, okay, enough about prospecting. Let's talk about lead generation. How does that sound? Lead generation, that sounds a lot better than prospecting. And of course, now everybody says, oh, you're just talking about prospecting with a different name. So now I'm saying, okay, let's not worry about lead generation. Let's be in conversations every day with people that possibly could buy or sell real estate. So I wrote down a question. Can you talk to people without being embarrassed? Can you talk to people without being embarrassed? So if you were in a seminar with me, I would stop now and say, okay, everybody write down, how are you and where do you work? Pretty simple. How are you and where do you work? And then I would ask everybody in the audience to turn to the person left or right and just smile and say, how are you and where do you work? This is called a conversation. That's all it is, a conversation. And if I can get you engaged in conversations with people that either you don't know or people you know from your database, you're going to generate leads and listings and transactions. Call it prospecting, call it lead generation, call it conversations. Conversations with people. The third skill is one of the harder ones, and it's the skill of strong lead follow-up. See, here's what we have to understand. Somebody gives you their name and number. They're trying to give you a commission check. They're saying to you, hey, come and talk to me about selling my home. I want to sell. Come tell me what you're going to do. I don't get it. I ask brokers every day, how many times a month do you get a complaint from a strong potential seller who complains because your agents are too strong in lead follow-up? And the answer is never. I mean, nobody complains about strong lead follow-up. And yet, the agents that list the most properties are very involved in strong lead follow-up, period. Next, of course, is strong pre-qualifying. Here's the catch. You don't have to go out and work with every seller that you meet. If you pre-qualify for motivation, their ability to sign a contract, their desire to move, when you pre-qualify, you're putting yourself in a position to know the path to go to when you're going to talk to them. Without pre-qualifying, it's really a crapshoot. You don't know what they're going to do. The doctor, the lawyer, the pilot, they pre-qualify 100%. strong presentation skills. Now, watch. Prospect, present, and close. I've said for years, the strongest thing we can do is learn to be a great presenter. Again, the MO on Mike Ferry for years has been, he's too strong in his presentation. You know, he gets up on the stage and he goes after people and he picks on people and he spits on the stage. I'm a strong presenter, period. Why? Because as we develop the strength in presenting, we also develop the ability to get people to sign contracts. Hey, by chance, if you're thinking about attending the retreat in July in Las Vegas, which probably all of you should do, day 1 and 2, I'm going to spend the entire 2 days simply on the concept, how do we help you get that 25, 50, 75, 100? We're going to take you through more thoughts than you can probably digest. And then days 3 and 4, I'm going to work with you on how to become a strong presenter. One of my strengths is teaching people how to become a strong presenter. And then the last skill is the skill of handling objections. You know, sellers are not smart enough to think of new objections. They give the same ones over and over again. As long as we can learn the answers, guess what? We're okay. But if we're not willing to learn the answers, now watch, sellers are not creative enough to think of any new objections. So the skill of time management, the skill of conversations, the skill of lead follow-up, the skill of pre-qualifying, the skill of presenting, and the skill of handling objections, you develop those skills and you're going to have a confidence about you to go out and do your job at a high level. So now let's look at the second phase of today. Why are these skills so difficult to develop? Because they're not easy to develop. Because if they were really easy, I could go like this, boom, and you'd have them. We could put a little chip in your cheek and you'd have the skills instantly. So I'm going to share some thoughts. First, the industry generally does not teach these types of skills. I don't know why. I've never figured that out. I guess really a person like myself isn't really necessary for the industry, because if the industry was teaching you the skills, why would a guy like Mike Ferry be necessary? I don't know why they don't teach the skills, but they don't. So let's go to number 2. We often find the skills difficult to learn because we're always looking for a magic formula. How can I get a deal without working? How can I get 2 deals without working? How can I get 2 listings without talking to people? Well, when we can get you to stop looking for magic formulas is when productivity goes up. Third, why are these skills so difficult? Because of our experience, which may not be positive with sellers, our experience, which may not be in concrete with sellers, or our lack of experience. Maybe we've just never done enough with sellers to gain, again, that confidence. Remember, knowledge equals confidence, ignorance equals fear. You know what to say, you're going to do it on a regular basis. But then I wrote down next, why are these skills so hard to develop? We're not willing to develop the discipline to learn them. Role play, practice, accountability, being involved in MFO training. These are things we have to look at if we're going to become productive at this level up here. And then, of course, I wrote down, why are these skills so hard to develop? Because we keep fighting changing our behavior. You know, Mike, this is how I've always done it. But you've never been productive. I know, but this is how I do it. How silly is that? So think about this. Our age physically should work in our favor. As we get older, we should be more mature. We should be more successful. But often our age doesn't work in our favor. Why? Because we're stuck in the past. I've never been a good listing agent. Therefore, you're not a good listing agent. I'm not willing to develop the discipline to become a good listing agent, so therefore I'm not a good listing agent. The stat that the average age of a realtor in the U.S. is 57 is scary. The stat that only 6% of all the realtors are under age 36 is scary. The young people haven't developed the maturity yet in the business. It's on its way. It's coming to you. And so many times the older people have stopped learning because they think it's too late, which is why I always say, if you think it's too late, get in a casket and wait. Here's what I want you to think about in today's message. The skills are vital to the confidence. And knowing why the skills are hard to learn is vital to the entire process. The faster we can process this information, the better off we are. Watch this particular little message every day this week to develop the skills you have. And then when I talk to you Next week, we're going to go a step further with this whole process. It'll be the 21st of May. And I know you're going to list a lot of property because of the messages you're learning. Talk to you next week.